Welcome to the TDD Spotlight, the series where we shed some light on Pokemon you may not have considered in Triple Double Drafts. I'm your host, Technovoid, and with me is your favorite Pokemon analyst, Hamsterwings. For today's episode, our pilot, we've decided to take a look at a C tier that I'm bloomin' surprised has gone unpicked till now. Let's talk about Florges. Florges is a mono fairy C tier that certainly specializes in being a special defense tank with HP of 78 and 154 special defense. It also sports a pretty significant special attack of 112, meaning it can go on the offensive when some fairy stab is really needed. Florges suffers the most with its base defense of 68 and speed of 75, which, when coupled with its mediocre HP, makes it physically frail and not particularly speedy in or out of Trick Room. As such, Florges offers some really powerful utility to teams that don't have a higher tier slot available for a fairy type. C tier has very few viable fairy mons, limited to Alchemy, Mr. Mime, Aromatisse, and Clefairy, so having a defensive cleric that can also deal sizable damage is worth considering. Florges gets two abilities, both of which are worth considering in the doubles format. Flower Veil prevents any grass-type allies from having their stats lowered or getting inflicted with status, which can be niche but powerful on teams with several grass-type Pokemon, or with a grass-type carry like Rillaboom, Kartana, or Tapu Bulu that doesn't particularly want to be intimidated. Symbiosis, on the other hand, allows Florges to pass its held item to an ally if the ally uses up their own items, such as a Berry, Terrain Seed, or Sash. So now I'm going to pass it on over to Hamsterwings, who's going to talk a little bit about some Florges sets that you can use.
Yeah, so honestly, the first thing you're going to want to do when making a Florges set is notice that you can customize its color, and that's pretty sick.
That's pretty cool.
Look at that, 5 different colors.
5 whole colors.
Alright, so like the main thing Florges is probably going to do is usually going to be a cleric type set. It's got access to a lot of cleric moves actually. Its support move pool is pretty large to supplement its kind of small offensive move pool. But it's got stuff like Heal Bell, it's got Wish, Ally Switch. You're usually going to run Dazzling Gleam on like probably every set just because it's got a decently sizable special attack stat. So like, if it's got downtime, it's always got time to attack. Other options though, it's got a lot of just cleric-y moves. It's got stuff like Magic Coat, bounce stuff back, It's got Aromatherapy, which is the same thing as Heal Bell, but, cleric-y stuff. Light Screen, No Reflect. Wish Ally Switch is always scary. Just a niche thing that it can do with support is it can run a grassy terrain set with Symbiosis. And if the thing it's paired with has, a grassy seed, well, now it has a defense boost and a new item. So that's pretty sick. It's just a cool supportive Pokemon.
Yeah, and that special defense stat is really going to help it survive anything that isn't a physical attack, especially if you're ally switching around.
It's basically like it's Goodra with maybe a slightly worse typing and bad other stats with the trade-off of being a C tier, which is like great.
Yeah, especially since you get as many of those as you want technically.
Yeah, up to 10.
Yeah.
So desired. Defog. Defog is another move that it gets that's nice if you need it.
Yep. Shall I move on to the Assault Vest?
Yeah, similarly, it can run Assault Vest pretty well. I mean, you're not going to
that already monster special defense.
Yeah, so you can run either max special attack, max defense, whatever you want, really. Even on a cleric set, you don't really need special defense investment. It'll just take everything. So you can run max phys def if you want. Or, I mean, EVs however you want. It's draft.
Mm-hmm.
Just adapt.
Whatever works for your opponent.
Adapt,
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's physical. Its offensive move pool doesn't really get much deeper than this. You can run like Hidden Power Fire over Psychic. Giga Drain's probably pretty necessary on an Assault Vest set because no reliable recovery.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're either using Synthesis or Wish most of the time, but you can't do that with Assault Vest, so Giga Drain really gives that to you.
Yeah, Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast, I mean, you're pretty much going to want to run both because, situational and it doesn't get much else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Psychic...
It certainly shines more as a cleric, but seeing as it's draft, it's got room for mix-ups.
Yeah. And very similar set here for the specs.
Identical move set. Yeah.
Identical, yeah. Yeah, the big thing I would say is for the 4th move slot, you can really consider between Psychic or Hidden Power Fire, depending on whether you're more concerned about steals or poisons, which are both going to be very good at locking Florges down and preventing it from doing anything.
Yeah. You could potentially slash Moonblast out. Depends on your opponent's team comp, it's draft.
Yeah, if there's not too many fairy weaknesses, Dazzling Gleam might be the only thing you need.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, alright. And finally, we have this asshole set.
Which, yeah, it can do this. It can. This set probably won't die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this set, for what it's worth, is weak to Taunt.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You can also slash Mental Herb over Leftovers, and that'll give it more time.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, this thing Toxic Stalls quite well. Wish, Ally Switch have a decent amount of PP. Yeah, it doesn't really die if it's special attackers out.
Absolutely. Anything else for Florges sets? Of course, folks, remember that these are not the only Florges sets you can run. These are just a general sort of idea of some of the moves it gets and some of the strategies you can employ using this Pokemon. Yeah,
just some, fun sets for C tiers that are pretty powerful but have gone unpicked because, C tier's really big.
It's a really big tier indeed, yeah. So Florges' biggest weaknesses do come in the form, of course, of Steel and Poison types that can especially take advantage of its passivity when you're running a Cleric set, but also physical attackers are going to be able to tear through that low defense and low HP. Make sure that if you are running Wish and just generally Florges, running HP EVs is generally going to be a good idea, because with low HP, you're not necessarily going to be passing as much of a Wish heal over, so you always want to increase that HP. Running Florges...
You'll basically always be running max HP anyway, either max HP, max special attack, max HP, max defense, max HP, max special defense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Running Florges along offensive threats that deal with those Steel and Poisons are going to be ideal for it. Pretty much anything that it can assist with that Cleric set, and anything that deals with the things that it's weak to is going to work really well. Any other thoughts on Florges here?
Yeah, I just want to say that I saw a disgusting set where it basically did the Grassy Surge symbiosis thing, and it gave it to, like, a Wally stored power. So it was like Calm Minding, boosting its special defense, and then the Grassy Seed boosted its defense, and it was disgusting and terrible.
That does sound really awful. Alright, well anyways, that is Florges in a nutshell. Hope you learned something. Now, it's time for you to vote for which Pokemon will be covered next time. Is it going to be the Ghost-type Cursula, or the Water and Poison-type Quillfish? Vote in the comments down below. I've been Technovoid, this has been Hamsterwings, and we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.